And welcome back to Rocket Right. I am Hurricane Betsy Barnes here with Dr. Kay Solar. And, you know, it's always a good time. You know, two busy blondes, partners one studio, you know, talk, blah, blah, blah. We love it, okay? But one of the things that we really love doing is we love introducing you to people that we are inspired by, people that we meet, that you might not meet in the daily course of your life and that we feel blessed to meet. And so I wanted you to meet David Thaddeus Baker. He is a really dynamic person in the greater New Orleans area. And so we have lots of viewers and lots of listeners in New Orleans and beyond. He is the incoming president of the New Orleans Press Club. And that is a really important position because if you think about it, and that's a volunteer position, if you think about it, it is all the press and media that really drives what happens in the state of Louisiana. There are journalists, of course, all over Louisiana, but the majority of media is owned by John George and others in New Orleans, that is NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, the Advocate, as well as TV and radio. And a lot of that hits national prominence through the New Orleans area. And so not only that, he is the editor of Louisiana Weekly, which is the oldest African-American publication in the United States, 94 years young, and still going strong. He has many more things that he's involved in, and we're going to talk about that over the course of the next two segments. But I really am so thankful that you came from New Orleans.
Thank you for the invitation.
I really do appreciate it because I think there's a lot of up-and-coming journalists. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of up-and-coming people who want to be involved, who want to be impactful, who want to share what's going on in Louisiana and bring our culture beyond the state borders. And I think that the media does that. Now, we don't always agree with everything in the media, right? We don't. There's a lot of times we don't. But it's important for people to be informed from every different side. So my background was news editorial journalism. I actually believe that journalists need to be the watchdog of government. They need to be objective. They need to share both sides, and they need to investigate it pretty extensively. And so I encourage journalists and others to do that, but I think it behooves us, who are the audience, to ask deeper questions. So I really am so glad that you can come because you're someone who's doing all of those things.
Wow, thank you.
So I appreciate you being here. So tell us a little bit how you got involved in Louisiana Weekly and how much bravery it took to take on being president of the New Orleans Press Club.
Well, so I started with the Weekly immediately out of college. I always wanted to be a journalist. It was my goal in life. I really felt like media connects the world and it really helps people to understand other people because it exposes you to cultures you don't normally get exposure to in the day-to-day depending on where you are. So I began out of college. I've been there for, it's been about maybe 10 or so years. Yes. I've gone back and forth. I was there and then I went to public relations. I was doing a bunch of just communications consulting and management for an organization in New Orleans that was representing the regional small businesses throughout the 5 parish DMA of New Orleans. And then eventually I went back to journalism to have a focus on covering small businesses, covering the entrepreneurship of New Orleans, and covering general assignment because that's what our paper does. We also cover a lot of policy and state politics and things like that. And in terms of eventually I moved on to be I'm now in the position of an editor. So eventually I got involved with the press club because there were things that I wanted to see developing in for myself as a journalist when I was younger, and I continue to be involved. Some of their board members at the time did a very good job of pulling me into things that were happening, helping to plan out a lot of the monthly events. We would do at least twice a month previously. Monthly events, one was the social aspect. It was just a cocktail hour for us to be able to come, decompress, and just have a bit of camaraderie with our colleagues who were experiencing the very same things as we do. I mean, you know, from coming from a news background, if you work in journalism, you don't really get to rest.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being on call as it is with being a doctor. So I began in that regard, helping to plan out the monthly events. We would do these things called newsmakers, in which we would invite it was basically us setting up a press conference on behalf of someone. We would invite you in to speak about whatever your topic was. If there was some new policy coming out that a legislator wanted to discuss, if a head of an agency or an industry wanted to talk about what the impact of, well, again, most likely legislation was going to be on the economy or education or just people's day-to-day lives, we would set those up. We would invite all of the working press. They would come in. We would make it a lunch thing. People had lunch. They also got to ask questions and get that first-hand experience with those invited guests, and then stories came out as a result of that. And then that began a conversation, and then it continued to be an ongoing, continuing coverage situation. When I moved into the role of president, which was technically last Thursday, although I've been on a board now for maybe 5 years, and in the last 2 or 3, maybe it's been 6 years in the last 2 or 3.
Yeah, because last year it just kind of disappeared for everybody. I mean, they're like,
I'm not really
count
counting
it?
that.
Do I not count it? I mean,
that's the thing. Last year just happened to us. I'm not sure if we were actively participating in it, but I was vice president for a while. I was still in charge of what me and my committee called PDEC. It was Professional Development and Events Committee. We planned out any social things, any professional development. The organization itself does do, while we would invite people in to be guest speakers, we do have a heavy focus on continuing professional development for journalists and people who work within communications management and public relations, because that's also a part of our membership. It's a bit different from other press associations around the country. My understanding is that Baton Rouge's Press Association doesn't have that part of their membership. We're one of the ones that does, and it's mainly because of the volume of PR people that we do have in our area, and we felt like we really needed to be able to represent that and serve them as well, to just so that they can know here's how you engage with the media, here are the things we're interested in, here's what will get picked up, and vice versa. It's an opportunity for us to work better with them if we needed story sources or facts checked about things that they said.
Research.
Fast research.
Yeah, because when something happens, the deadlines are so ridiculously short that unless you know somebody that can get you something, you have to know.
You could be waiting a while.
Yeah.
And it's not ideal particularly in a 24-hour news cycle. You're already competing with everybody else.
Right.
So now, as president, it should be fun. This was my official acceptance speech. It should be fun.
Yeah.
And I stand by it.
Should anything you do, right?
Right.
Yes.
So with that position, what I've been trying to do is continue to expand our footprint and to shore up our membership, and just to make sure that the media that we do have within this region, in addition to the ones who are coming to visit for whatever they may be visiting for, we get a lot of visiting journalists in New Orleans because of the tourism industry. And
tourism, huge. I mean, it's our 4th biggest industry, right? We talk about it a lot here, and it really is going to impact in the next year to 2 years. It is going to make a tremendous difference in how we bounce back as a state.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. There are some places, this is just an aside, I know that some of the tourism industry in New Orleans is still struggling in terms of actual bodies in the building to do the work and do the jobs.
Right.
And obviously tourism will recover. This won't be any different than when we had the lull after Katrina or the lull after 9/11. We'll get back to it, but we need to definitely, as a city, figure out how we're going to do that in terms of the people who are actually working within these institutions. So but we'll keep reporting on that, and that's for the hospitality industry to figure out themselves. My understanding is that there are some demands that need to be met.
There are some demands, some manpower demands that need to be met. But if you take away our food, our music, our culture, our joie de vivre, we're the Sahara Desert. There's no reason to come. So we just want to make sure that everything gets back and we promote it as positively as possible. And I think that is a lot depending on how it's reported.
Yeah.
It's a lot dependent on how it's reported and shared, because we want national and international media to pick up what a wonderful place. We're ready, the doors are open, your gumbo's hot, the beer's cold, as a friend of ours likes to say. And so, it's really important to do that. And so we're going to be right back with David Baker. So hang tight with us, because we're going to share some other things that he's doing. And there might be something in the New Orleans New Orleans area or another part of the state that you might get inspired by an idea that David has, want to pick it up in your area. And we're going to be right back with Rocket Right with Hurricane Betsy Barnes and Dr. K. Solar. So just hang right where you are, and don't forget to check our Facebook, our YouTube channel for Rocket Right Entertainment, little Instagram, and you can also go find Louisiana Weekly and go find David Baker, and we're going to tell you how to do that in our next segment. We'll be right back. Rocket Right.
I love the hurricane.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ron McMorris of Elite Chiropractic in Livingston Parish, conveniently located off the I-12 corridor in Walker and Albany. If you suffer from sciatica, migraines, or other pain conditions, give us a call to see if we have a technique that best fits you. We have multiple techniques, including chiropractic adjustments, massage therapy, dry needling, rehab, and much more. Again, I'm Dr. Ron McMorris with Elite Chiropractic in Livingston Parish, Walker, and Albany.
At Hightower Dental Concepts, we take a compassionate approach to family dentistry. Our goal is to make your dental experience comfortable and informative so you can make the best dental care decisions for you and your family. We're welcoming new patients to our dental family at Essen & Perkins, and we look forward to meeting you soon at Hightower Dental Concepts. Call us today at 769-0031 or request your appointment at info@dentalconceptsbr.com.
Some call it joie de vivre, the joy of life. In Louisiana, it's our way of life. From music that shakes up your senses to food that wakes up your palate. That joy vibrates in every note we play and spices up every meal we serve. So come live life to the fullest. Come one, come y'all, come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm Sean Ardway, inviting you to plan your trip at louisianatravel.com.
Since the early 1800s, the Selassie family has played a significant role in the retail industry in Louisiana. Stuart Selassie has achieved the Certified Diamond Graduate designation from the prestigious Gemological Institute of America. What that means to you, whether it's appraisals, design, build, repair, or diamond sales, you have an expert you can count on. At Selassie's, you make all the right choices. Selassie Jewelry and Fine Gifts in the heart of the Denham Springs Antique District. Find them on Facebook.
Whitetail Properties is not your average real estate company. Land specialist and MSU alum Jeff Taylor in Mississippi and LSU fan realtor Kate Taylor have teamed up. Their sole purpose is uniting buyers and sellers of recreational land. If you're interested in hunting, ranch, investment, and timber properties, Whitetail Properties experts have the right real estate for you. Call Jeff Taylor, 601-248-9433, or Kate Taylor, 225-719-0495, or visit whitetailproperties.com.
Visit one of our 21 state parks all over Louisiana.
Let's go to the state park. There are 21 of them, you know. And state parks have biking and hiking, tubing, and we can even ride horses. Or we can go exploring and even swim by a beach. They have cabins, really nice ones, with long fishing piers.
Don't forget to tell them about the discounts.
Oh yeah, book 3 nights and we get the 4th night free.
Great job.
Thanks.
Louisiana State Parks, we're ready for your adventure.
I had a meeting with Dr. Barfield and it kind of just hit me. It probably is cancer. After the surgery, I wasn't scared anymore. I was looking forward to getting started with chemo. Not one time did I get a nurse in a bad mood. I was here for 5 hours at a time and I did not dread coming. To get people from around the country to come to Baton Rouge, that says a lot right there. That this place is cutting edge.
back with Rocket Right. I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes here with Dr. Kay Solar, and we're just laughing about my nickname, and that's okay. It's a hurricane of ideas, connections, and events, not the destructive kind, the fun, festive, fun-loving kind.
Yeah.
That's right. So we are here with David Baker. He's the editor of Louisiana Weekly, which is the longest running, continually running African-American newspaper in the country, as well as the incoming president of the New Orleans Press Club, which we know so much about. What is shared with the world comes out of New Orleans press, and so it's important that we have very positive press as we come out of the pandemic. But some of the other things that you're doing have to do with art shows and some of the other cultural things that you're doing. And so you've been involved with a lot of different organizations, the Contemporary Art Center. You've been involved with a lot of things. So tell us some of the different things you have coming up and how people can get involved with that. And then after that, tell us how they can enter their art, their photos into a contest.
So I get this question a lot, is like, how did you get involved with all these different organizations? And for me, honestly, they all connect across a particular theme. I have a very strong interest in the arts. I love it, and my other passion in the world is journalism. So I just found a way to marry those things together by bringing... I found that in often cases, nonprofits, particularly arts nonprofits, don't really pull in people who can help them to tell their story.
They're not good storytellers, they're better artists.
Right.
And the organizations are run by artists,
So,
not
and
PR
I
people.
felt like this is a thing that I can offer, and I can help you with this. So it began with literally just volunteering on committees. And eventually I was invited to participate in a lot of these boards. Like currently I'm the vice president of the Contemporary Art Center and heading up their strategic planning process. We already mentioned the Press Club, Junebug Productions, which started in the 60s as the Free Southern Theater. It was founded in the midst of the civil rights movement to bring live theater and performance to Black communities when our community in New Orleans couldn't actually go to theaters. And, WWNO, but that's mostly a work-related thing.
Yes.
Although, journalism is important, so just journalism is important. And the first board I really think that I participated in a fully active way was the Young Leadership Council, which y'all have an equivalent organization here in Baton Rouge called Forum 35.
Yes, right.
We do the same thing, but we do it in the New Orleans area. The organization had a focus on leadership development, and the way in which we did that was by putting together and organizing a bunch of mentorship projects and other civic and civil engagement projects. Like we've done stormwater drainage cleanup. We've done cleaning up of public spaces, just make sure green spaces were clean and neat. We've done a bunch of stuff with kids.
So where you saw there was a gap between public and private, you filled in that gap to show service.
Yes. I found that people in New Orleans, and particularly people in Louisiana, are very good at that.
Yes.
Seeing what they need
We're
in their
always cleaning up
communities and filling
something.
it. We've had a lot of messes, but we've cleaned most, if not all of them up.
Yes, we do.
So that's how all of this really began, and the regard in which I think of it is, what would I like my community to look like? A place where it's clean, everyone has equal access to education and healthcare and all of these other things, particularly an environment in which people can engage with the arts in a very open and productive way. I feel like the arts really helps people to be more expressive, to be more sympathetic, to be more compassionate, and also it really is just fun. So the marriage between the media aspect of myself and the arts aspect of myself collided, and then I partnered up the Press Club with Prospect New Orleans, which is this international art triennial that happens in New Orleans. They're a separate organization, but what they do is they invite artists from all over the world to submit for a 3-month exhibit that takes place over 15 separate institutions and public spaces in the New Orleans region.
Yeah.
The art goes up, it gets selected last year, well, not last year, because it was supposed to happen last year, but COVID interrupted that, so now it's being done this year. In 2019, when the call for proposals went out, I submitted one on behalf of our association for a photojournalistic exhibit, just to display the life and culture of, initially it was just New Orleans, but now it's Southeast Louisiana, in the manner in which audiences digest it through journalism. And that's pretty much the only requirement for
So
it.
anyone can submit photos
Anyone can submit.
that are a reflection of life in Southeast Louisiana.
Life and culture across, whether it's places and environment, that could be anything from photographing the bayous or the coastline, and like, this is what it was, this is what it is now. Or it could be music, visual arts, it could be just documenting historic places in New Orleans. All of those things are eligible for this. So the display will open on October 23rd and will run through January 23rd. And what we have going along with that is a bunch of public programming, just to not only discuss the works, but just discuss some of the things that are really more journalism focused, like how are we selecting the photos that we use within newspapers or stills that we use on TV. How do they relate to the stories that we are running them with? Is there an opportunity for us to have better alignment with the arts community in the region now? And are we telling their stories? Are we really encouraging our public to really go out and participate in the arts? We're a very tourism-heavy state and a very tourism-heavy city. The arts are a part of that.
Yes.
And this was a way to not only showcase the photojournalists within our membership and any other photographer within the state who wants to submit. It was also a way for us to really align with something that is such a vital aspect of our economy. And then there's also a local business support aspect, because the exhibit will be housed at, between Old 77 Hotel and the Hotel St. Vincent. It was very important to us.
The new Hotel St. Vincent.
That former
the new Hotel
orphanage.
St.
Yes,
Vincent.
the new
that is
Hotel
the
St. Vincent.
former orphanage right there at Magazine near 8th, across from my favorite silver store, As You Like It Silver.
Yes.
So I love that place.
It's a
I love
beautiful
that place.
renovation.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see it. I really want to be there for the opening.
I'll get them to take you on a tour. It's lovely.
I've got to see it. How can people, submit an application or,
great question.
be able to be a part of this if they want to submit?
So our website, just go to our website. It's pressclubneworleans.com. The actual submissions are being taken through Submittable, but it would be easier to just go to our website and click the button and it'll take you right there. It has all of the stipulations, all of the brief on the actual exhibition. It has a digest on all of the public programming, and a lot of it will include, I've already lined up a bunch of our speakers for this. Like, we have people coming in from the New York Times, The Guardian, Photoars, which is a travel publication, and they cover Louisiana because we're a travel city.
Because we're fun.
Yeah.
That's right, because we're fun.
And
no place is more fun.
We'll have some local media involved. So I think the conversation will be rich and robust.
Yes.
And it will absolutely include how not only we are depicting our culture, but how we're depicted in the media as a state when it comes to national press. We've all seen things that aren't favorable to us, but we also know that a lot of these things aren't accurate. So this conversation, or the series of conversations, will center around that.
And people need to bring their children. And they need to invite their family from other places to come hang out with them and go do things like this. That would be so enriching.
I agree. If you're one state away, we are just like a couple of hours, and we have the loveliest 3-day stays that you'll ever find.
That's right. We can talk a lot about those things, and we will in another show talk about some of the greatest places you can stay around that time. I hate that we're running out of time, but tell people how they can get in touch with you, connect with you on all the different things that you're doing.
Absolutely. So I'm very active on social media because it's fun. So there's that. On Instagram, it's just Thadfly, THADFLY. But if you want to reach me directly and more immediately, you can email me at D as in David, B as in Baker, THAD@gmail.com. It is the fastest route.
Wonderful. We're so glad you could be here. Thank you for coming and hanging with us.
This was so much fun.
For 2 segments, we hope you'll come back, and we want to go to the show. And just remember, if you're going to rock it, make sure you rock it right in Louisiana. Woo!
Yeah.
Are you a business owner that could use just one more customer? Those empty tables, vacant appointments, idle employees, and expired merchandise are missed opportunities. What if there were a community that connects you to high-value and motivated customers, giving you a competitive edge in the marketplace and increasing your revenue? Introducing Partners One. You keep doing what you do best, taking care of your customers, and we'll do what we do best, sending you new customers to take care of. Call us today to find out how Partners One can work for your business.
Rock It Right with Betsy Barnes and Dr. K. Solar is brought to you by these generous sponsors. Partners One, better barter for Baton Rouge and beyond.
Mary Bird Perkins, Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Center, Selassie Jewelry and Fine Gifts, Advantage Health Solutions with Dr. Boyd Michael Helm, Hightower Dental Concepts with Dr. Leah Larson, City Group Hospitality including City Pork Brasserie and Bar, City Pork Catering, City Slice, City Taco, Rouge Creole, and Beau Soleil.
Talent 360 Consulting with Vicki Little. Jeff Taylor, Realtor and Forester with Whitetail Properties. The 3rd Street Songwriters Festival. Elite Chiropractic with Dr. Ron McMorris. LouisianaIsATrip.com. Take one. Thank you for making our show possible.